Case. All right, let's shift gears to some daddy-daughter time in the DPRK. If you don't know, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, it's not democratic and it's not a republic. It's a totalitarian regime where the ruler of North Korea, Kim Jong Un, believes that he's a living god. He's a living deity. And if you don't believe me, all you have to do is read the North Korean propaganda. There's a guy out there named Michael Malice, and he was born in Russia, and his parents emigrated to the United States, and he'd had a fascination with communism his whole life, and he actually went to North Korea, and he pulled out all of the propaganda for us to read and to listen to. And when you read and listen to the propaganda from the North Koreans, and it's all in English because they want us to actually know it, so it's properly translated. There's nothing lost in translation there. It is really interesting. They believe that Kim Jong Un, has the sun shines out of his ass, and before him, Kim Il Sung, the sun shined out of his ass, and this is a dynasty that will last thousands of years. And we've got the next generation of these freaks coming through now, and I'm just going to share my screen and play a little video with you because I think it's quite funny. This is what they do in North Korea for daddy-daughter time. So you would have seen one of these parades. This parade was 3 months ago, so this was at the start of the year. So what we can see on the screen here is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there's one around the corner, 11 ICBMs, intercontinental nuclear missiles. So this is the parade that they go through, and this is all the military on one side, the civilians on the other side. If you're not clapping and you stop clapping first, you're going to be thrown in the gulag for 10 years. But this is a family event. Everybody comes out and has a look. Everybody's ordered to come out and have a look, and they put on these really slick parades and they see what's happening. There's the boss man himself saying g'day to everybody. He's all happy about the nukes. And if I just pause the video right there. So this woman here in the middle, this is his sister, who is hopefully nothing ever happens to him because she's next in line and she is like way, way worse than him. And this person here is his daughter. So this is Kim Jong Un's daughter. So the reason that I'm showing you that is because when I've got a daughter, and you've also got kids, Ed. And, when your kids were little and you would go out and spend some daddy-daughter time with your kids, it was kind of cool, right? Kim Jong Un brings his kid to a parade where they're showing nuclear missiles. So just think about I can't think of any other way to say it. Just think about how fucked up this is. Nuclear missiles are designed to destroy hundreds of thousands of people at a time and destroy entire cities and just the absolute worst weapons that have ever been created by humanity. And he parades all 11 ICBMs that he's got in one evening, and they just drive down the street. It probably takes 20 minutes for all of that to happen. And his daughter is clapping that. He's clapping the fact that they've got nuclear missiles, they've got nuclear weapons.
She better.
It's fucked up, man. It really is. Yeah. And if you're not clapping, yeah. So again, this is in the Gulag Archipelago book. It talks about how Stalin comes out into these rooms and everybody's clapping. And if you watch the communists clap, they clap in front of their nose like this, and they get their elbows right up and they're clapping like that. So it can be seen that you're clapping. And so the people that are in the room when Stalin comes out, the first person to stop clapping gets a tenner. And a tenner means you're going to get 10 years in the Gulag. You get a tenner. And there's people clapping, and then there's old people there, in their 60s and 70s clapping, and they fall over and collapse because they've been clapping for 10 minutes because it's too hard for them, it's physical, and they're on the ground still clapping. And Stalin stands there until somebody gets a tenner. That's the totalitarian rule that actually goes on. So did that really happen? Is that really true? There's a lot of stories about that being not true, and is it true? But even if it's not true, that's still the mindset and the mentality of them. And when you watch Kim Jong Un come out in front of his parliament, in front of everybody that's there, it looks like the Chinese parliament, by the way. It looks almost identical because it's built on that system. Everybody is clapping like that. Everybody's clapping in front of their nose like these seals. It's very, very strange. So just yesterday, Kim Jong Un took his daughter on another excursion. He took her out for some more daddy-daughter time, and they were going to inspect the components of a spy satellite that's about to be launched, which they anticipate is going to be in the next week or so. And so here's dad talking to the scientists, and here's his daughter having a little peek at the camera, and everybody's got eyes front and center. This dude in the middle better be careful. Hopefully he's just blinking, not having a snooze, because he's going to be in big trouble if he is snoozing. I think he's just blinking, it's just the camera, because Kim's going to give him a slap on the back of the head. And here he is. Here's the dad and the boss man with his daughter. So daddy-daughter time in North Korea means inspecting nuclear weapons on parade, inspecting the entire army, the air force, and the military, and everything that goes on. But it also goes to inspecting spy satellites. So it's come out that we don't really know what this spy satellite is. It's said that, because there's no images of it, right? When you look in all the open source media and intelligence that's out there, they don't show it. Yeah. But a couple of months ago, they showed Kim Jong Un walking through a room which looks like a concrete bunker. And as he's walking through the room, he's walking past all of the nuclear warheads. And there looks to be in that room 60 or 70 of them. So he's got a lot of nukes, right? And on top of those ICBMs, he can put a lot of weapons. He could probably put 8 or 9 weapons on the top of it, the re-entry vehicles, the MRF re-entry vehicles. So the top of the missile looks like a triangle, but inside of that triangle, there's little triangles, which are the nuclear warheads, which are the re-entry vehicles. So the thing is that I don't think that the North Koreans would ever use an ICBM to strike the United States. They might. They've got 11 missiles right now. So it takes 4 missiles to intercept 1 incoming ICBM. So they use a thing called THAAD, Theater High Altitude Ballistic Missile Defense, and that's where you hit a missile with a missile. So they use a weapon system called an SM-6 to do that, from a Aegis guided missile destroyer, or an SM-3 from a land-based missile battery. And at the moment, the Americans have got, how many do you reckon? 44 missiles. Okay. Yeah. So they got, so work with me on the math here. They got 44 missiles. Kim Jong Un has got 11 missiles.
Now, when you say they have 11, you mean 11 types? Or
No. 11 physical missiles, so 11 intercontinental ballistic missiles. So the truck driving down the street with the missile in the back of it looks like Kim Jong Un's dick, but that's we've got 11 of them. So
that doesn't sound like very much.
Doesn't sound like very many missiles, right? Yeah. So work with me on the math here. Okay. They've got 11 missiles. So what? You've got thousands. Yeah. You've got 11 missiles, but you've only got 44 interceptors. If it takes 4 interceptors for 1 ICBM, 4 times 11, if you forgot your high school math, is 44. So if he gets 1 more missile and he fires all 12 missiles at you at once, one of them's going to get through. And if there's half a dozen MRF re-entry vehicles on the top of that missile, you're going to wear 6 nuclear explosions.
Yeah, well,
that's the end.
You know, to paraphrase Donald Trump, ours work.
Well, and that's the other thing, you know, I've got a red button on my desk, but I've got a bigger red button on my desk. Here it is here, yeah. But that's the arms race that we're in, and not people just don't know that. It is the unspoken truth. He's got 11 missiles, you've got 44 interceptors. If he gets 1 more missile, and we show footage of him walking through a bunker, I should have found the footage and the images. He's walking through the bunker, and there's like 50 or 60 warheads that are actually there that just need to be put into the MRFs and mounted on the top of there. So why am I talking about North Korean satellites? Why am I talking about that? Well, I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to show you something that has happened, and this happened like many years ago. So this satellite here, let me just refresh the page to see where this thing is. So this satellite here is called the KSM-4, and I'll put the link to this in the description down below. And so you can come here. This is where you can track any satellite, by the way. If you have seen something that's happened, or you want to know when the space station is going to fly over your house or something like that, you can see it. So you can see this is the tracking data. So this satellite here is tracking here to the east of Australia, right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean right now, yeah? But you can see it's gone over the top of North America, just where my mouse is here, and over the top of Alaska is the next projected thing. If I click Draw Footprint, that is the EMP footprint. If you don't know, folks, EMP stands for electromagnetic pulse. Nuclear war won't happen the way that you think it will happen. Nuclear war is not like a Terminator movie where there's 400 missiles that are ground bursts that destroy the cities. Nuclear war is not like that. That's not how we train for nuclear war. The way the Russians, the North Koreans, and the Chinese, and the Iranians as well, train for nuclear war is to use a first strike electromagnetic pulse weapon. And the EMP weapon is designed to destroy all of the electronics over a particular target. And there's several different ways that they can let those weapons off. One of the really scary ways of doing that is by taking a ship and parking it in the Gulf of Mexico, a cargo ship. This scenario has played out a couple of times in real life. And inside the cargo hold of these ships, open it up, and there's a missile system in there that can fire and a delivery mechanism to let the EMP go off at about 100,000 feet over the center of the continental United States, which would turn the lights off for the whole United States. So earlier, just as I was getting ready to make this video, it went right over the top of North America, and where I happened to take the screenshot of it was right there. So if Kim Jong Un was in his office and he decided that he wanted to destroy the Great Satan once and for all because he ponied up with his mates in Iran and China and he was ready to go, if he hit the red button on his desk, that satellite, which we believe is an EMP weapon, they say that it's a weather satellite. But you know how many times it's transmitted since it was launched? So a weather satellite, right? You think the weather, it's like showing me the weather, the clouds, it's taking data. How many times it's transmitted since it was launched? None.
Ever? Yeah.
Never. It's never transmitted, ever. So the only thing that this could be was a proof of concept that we can get a satellite into space using our rocket technology, because that's our ICBM technology. And if it happened to be successful, we could use it as an EMP weapon to wipe out the United States in one go. So everything down to something as small as your mobile phone will be destroyed in an EMP strike. Everything. And these are known as super EMP weapons. And super EMP weapons are designed to destroy the entire country with one go. So your grid there in the United States is not hardened against it. And what the EMP weapon will do is it destroys all of the transformers at your substations. So the transformer at the substation is like as big as a locomotive train. They're massive. And the only place that they come from is from Germany or from South Korea. That's where they're built. They can't be built anywhere else in the world. And you've probably got a few spares on the shelf there in the US, but if the EMP weapon goes off and it destroys hundreds of substations, literally maybe thousands of substations and the transformers there, that's the end of life as you know it in the United States. The whole world's economy will collapse as a result of one super EMP weapon. And this madman in North Korea is about to launch another one of these super EMP weapons under the guise of it being a spy satellite. But the North Koreans are not known for having high-tech industries that enable high-tech optics to put even a small state cube-based satellite. Here in Australia, we have a pretty robust space industry, and small satellites are the key to actually growing in space, where you can build rocket technology literally in your backyard to get that satellite into a low Earth orbit to do, geostationary orbit to do what it is that you want it to do. But the North Koreans are not known for having the optical technology to actually put something that would be looking down, or the E-link technology to listen to the electronic SIGINT stuff that's coming through that would actually help them and benefit them. So if they launch this so-called spy satellite, and it doesn't go into a geostationary orbit above North Korea, meaning it stops above North Korea and it's orbiting planet Earth, we're going to see another super EMP weapon in space. And so far they've got two of them. The Iranians have got a couple in space as well. And how many have we got? I don't know. How many of the Russians got? Probably a few. How many of the Chinese got? Probably a lot. Because that's the asymmetric advantage that the enemy has against us to take out our space-based assets. And it might not necessarily be in space to take out your country and the electrical grid and the transformers there. It might be in space to take out all of the satellite technology that you've got. Because if we can make the GPS go away, and we can make all the communication satellites go away, you're essentially turning the eyes and ears of the military off to make it blind and deaf, and you're unable to go against it. So that's how the enemy are planning to destroy us. I believe with everything in my fiber that World War III doesn't start in Europe with Russia invading Ukraine. World War III starts when China tell North Korea to invade South Korea, and they hit the button on the EMP weapon, and then the Chinese go after the Taiwanese, and then the Iranians will go after the Israelis with their own nuke. That's the jackpot that we're looking for in the next couple of years. And there's no way that any country in the world, even if we come together as a coalition, can fight back against any of that. And unfortunately, if the North Koreans go after the South Koreans, they will use their super EMP weapons. That's what they'll do. The minute you see this thing launched in the next week, if that goes into an orbit of some description, and a low Earth orbit, the same as that other one that I just showed you, the KSM-4 there, then you can safely say that that's a super EMP weapon. It's not a spy satellite. It's not transmitting anything. And we'll know if it transmits as well. We'll be able to see that. The SIGINT shows us that we can do it. Folks, a lot of the information that I've learned about all of this comes from a guy named Dr. Peter Vincent Pry. Unfortunately, he passed away last year, but he was the person who worked for the CIA in the 80s, so in the late 70s and 80s. And I think he worked there for about 15 years. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember exactly. But he was the one responsible for formulating all of the reactions to the nuclear threats that we faced. And these types of books here, so nuclear EMP attack scenarios and combined arms cyber warfare. So this book is all about nuclear EMP. And the picture on there is a picture of Starfish Prime. That's the bomb that went off in the atmosphere and turned off all the lights in Hawaii. Yeah, accidentally. Oops, we didn't mean to do that. So that's what nuclear war looks like on the cover of this book. It doesn't look like a Terminator movie where there's a giant ground burst and a huge mushroom cloud. This is what nuclear war looks like. There's another book, folks, that I encourage you to go and get. And once again, I'll put all of the links in the description, is this. It's called Nuclear War Survival Skills. And this book is revised every year. Now, is this doomsday prepping stuff? Yes, absolutely, it is. You need to know what to do if a nuclear weapon goes off, because the threat of nuclear war has never, ever been so close. Where Ed and I talk about this every other day here on the channel, that if the Ukrainians take back Crimea, cut them off at Melitopol and Mariupol, and they cut off the Kerch Bridge, that will be seen as an existential